Chat knew that I was coming because chat's known for like the last 3 hours at least.
Wait, were you?
I was literally screaming at you like when I gave the dono.
Like a microphone, you got to get closer to it.
Yeah.
So let's. 1 second. Okay. Folks, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
You're speaking to the mic real quick?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, they can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool.
1 second.
Sorry.
You need to get closer here. I'm just trying to see what's back here. That like, I haven't used the second camera in a while.
Yeah.
To make sure that it's not like. There it is. Okay, you need to come closer.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can I move this?
There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Which camera is that? There.
That one up there, yeah. Chelsea Manning's here.
Hey.
A hero. And, American hero. I don't know what do you live in LA?
No, I live in New York. But I've been traveling for work for the last. I've been traveling the last month, and I'm traveling for the next month after that.
How would you introduce yourself to people that don't know anything about
I like
you?
pizza. I play video games.
Okay, but like what? But more than that. What have you done?
Oh yeah, so I got in trouble a couple years ago. I got in trouble, 2020, like 10. I got in trouble.
She got tortured by the American military for revealing information about their war crimes.
Yeah. It was I don't use the T word myself. But,
sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't. I just say that I was, incarcerated under very extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like yes, papela. Yeah.
And but more importantly than that, obviously, Chelsea is a HasanAbi head,
for everything
and watches me play video games as well as everything else.
Yeah.
Playing for Chelsea has.
I've been playing Elden Ring. That's what I've been doing too.
Yeah, you were in the military.
I was, yes.
What was your position in the military?
I was an intelligence analyst. So I did charts, maps, graphs, and did data science essentially. So.
Kind of like Pete Buttigieg or no?
I mean, allegedly, I was kind of a lib in those days, so you know.
Did you have a mineral map of Afghanistan?
Actually, yes. A mineral map of Afghanistan was available to me. Yes.
There you go.
But yeah.
I wonder why. Anyway, okay. So, but obviously, since then, Chelsea's point of view has changed, right? About American military, American imperialism in general.
Yes. I may have changed my political positions quite a bit over the last 14 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
I wasn't super educated. Like my politics in 2007 when I enlisted were basically like leave Britney alone. So.
By Chelsea Hassel.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
No, this was like, I get that. I was in Turkey back then, so it was a little different for me. For me, my politics have always been around like, fuck America, obviously being on the other side of the planet. But I definitely, when I came to America, was like, yeah, I love Obama, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sort
pretty
of
much
thing.
everyone here.
Yeah, this is sick.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we are obviously talking about what is going on in Ukraine.
Yeah, there might be a major regional, conventional, strategic force-on-force conflict ongoing that may have some significant impact.
You might have heard about it.
That might have some significance on the entire European continent.
Yeah. So I take it you've heard that Russia is invading.
Yeah, I've been
Ukraine.
paying attention. I've been monitoring it.
Not that it's like kind of a big deal, but I just wanted to make sure.
I've been doing my job on my own. So my old job, the thing about being an analyst is that it never really stop. You never really stop being an analyst. So I got all my charts, maps, and graphs. I got active.
Or you want to don't show it on the camera, or it's not a problem. All right, show it.
No, it's just Wikipedia.
Okay. So you were talking about potentially offering militarily. Why?
Yeah.
You were talking about how militarily why Russia was failing disastrously, and I feel like even your experience. I feel like that could be a useful conversation to have if you want to talk about that, because as everybody already knows, and I'll tweet out real quick that you're here, but as everybody already knows.
Yeah. Sorry about everybody's been crossed because I wasn't even supposed to be here to do any of this at all. Like I was in a completely different. My schedule's changed like several times over in the last like 6 days, I'd say.
Yeah. What
like
do you
like? I'm supposed to be in Europe like next week. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm flying to
Let's go.
I think I'm flying. I don't even know which country I'm flying to in Europe right now. Probably either Germany or Switzerland or France.
What are you doing? What am
I doing? That's why I have an assistant.
What do you do?
What do I do? I mean, I do security. I do consulting. I do advice on machine learning, intelligence, or data science, information, things like that. I also work for I sort of do security consulting for a privacy oriented company right now, almost full time now. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. So a lot of stuff involves travel to Europe and doing stuff. So yeah, it's just like day work. It's just day job work. Like obviously I'm still on Twitter. I actually haven't been, I kind of like expected, I kind of knew that Russia was going to pop off in Ukraine. So I kind of shut up because everybody had their opinions about, like it's not going to happen.
So you were
yeah. I was like, I don't know. This seems to
HasanAbi
be about to go down. I was not doubtful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you didn't doubt the U.S. intelligence.
I think I doubt the intention. The sort of like the intentionality of putting out that information in terms of like trying to like build up the defense industry and things like that, like to do that. But I was under the impression that I would not, that they would not put out this information unless they had their ducks in a row. So I think that they kind of knew. They kind of knew that this was going to happen and that this was a real possibility, and yeah, like that was the sense that I got. So
what do you think?
I kind of didn't want to guess because.
What do you think Putin's intentions are though? Because it's fucking. So look, there's obviously a reason why the Ukrainian administration completely dropped the ball on actually believing the U.S. intelligence, even though they were fucking literally communicating around the clock. There's a reason why the German intelligence security chief was like literally stuck in Kyiv and had to like drive away because he didn't think the invasion was going to happen.
Yeah.
Ukrainians didn't believe it. It seems like the only people that believed the invasion was going to happen was Vladimir Putin. That's it.
Yeah.
The Chechens, who he was communicating with, who might be responsible for the leak to begin with. Yeah. And the American intelligence that probably
and nobody believed
and
nobody believed the Americans because the Americans have been so haphazard with intelligence. Like they, obviously the whole nuclear or this whole 45 minutes and chemical weapons with Iraq. And sort of like the weapons of mass destruction intelligence that Colin Powell put out there. So they didn't have the credibility that anybody would take it seriously. But the question is, what was the audience, the public, or was it try to educate the public, or was it a message to Vladimir Putin to say, hey, we know
everything you're doing.
Yeah.
We're tracking all of your steps.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so much.
Yeah.
It was so much that like it.
Well, one of the things that I heard is a bit of an apocryphal story is that people in Eastern, like some of the Russian speakers that were literally like working at a hotel in Eastern Ukraine, not the Donbass, but like a slightly north of there, were in the hotel and they thought it was like they're like, who's shelling us? Like who's attacking us? Like that was how. Even people who were like on the border were just like, who's attacking us? Why are we under attack? Because they thought it was they thought the whole thing was like a hoax. So. Yeah,
I mean, it was unimaginable. Yeah. And the reason why it was unimaginable, because like a lot of people give me shit and they're like, you fucking got this wrong.
Yeah, you did get it. You got it pretty wrong.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of NATO.
You gotta eat that one.
And I do, but there's a lot of NATO simps who are like, oh, dude, you're fucking wrong, and also America good, right? And the reason why I got it wrong and so many other people got it wrong was because there is no material reason that that to be able to be this aggressive towards Ukraine, and I don't see a way out of this conflict that will be a W for Putin in any meaningful capacity.
this is absolutely insane. I mean, like
it seems erratic.
It's erratic.
And that's not something you can ever say. You can never be like, this is an insane person when you're doing political analysis. So that's why.
But I mean, like even like I mean, certainly even his top advisors are like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what is our end state? Like, they didn't have you have tanks and APCs like out on the streets that are getting shelled and attacked because they ran out of fuel. So, you know, it was a total, like, as one person in response to one of my tweets about this said, like the strategic military term for this is clusterfuck. So.
Yeah, I mean, literally. So what's up? Like, I mean, first of all, I doubt the 3,500 numbers. I don't think it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's ballpark. I don't think that.
You think it's that high?
I think it's very high. I don't want to put a number on it because you can't. Like probably not even the Russians know what their actual casualty numbers are.
That's insane.
But it's at least north of 1,000. I would estimate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
it's bad. They've had catastrophic losses.
I thought they were like 10xing it. You know what I mean? I didn't.
They might be 5xing it, but like I wouldn't put it. But like I would put it like it's not out of the league. Like it's it's bad. Like Russians are really hurting.
But I feel like part of it, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but a part of it I think is because one. They
trust me, bro.
underestimated.
The internet's like.
I think they underestimated Ukraine's defenses.
Yes.
And Ukraine has been a lot better at defending itself than Russia thought it was going to.
Well, I think Ukraine's defenses were caught with their pants down. I think that they were not prepared for this. I do think that they had their guard down quite a bit, and then the Russians disabled somehow. I don't know how.
Their air defenses?
Either air defense. Their air defenses seem to be down for at least 12 hours. So
from what I understand, or this is
whether it's cyber or sabotage is.
Well, isn't it also because they have they still are operating on the old USSR bases too, so they knew exactly where to hit. But even with all that information. I go back and forth on this because on the one hand, I think like, you know, obviously they're not going to be able to take Kyiv over in fucking 2 days, right?
Well, they tried to.
But they did try to because they thought that they would be able to.
Yeah, and they almost did. They got to the outskirts of Kyiv, and if they had encircled the city, they would have taken Kyiv within another 12 to 14 hours, like that militarily. I think their window closed just. The window closed to where the resistance was just enough at just the right time for that door to be slammed in their face. They got close. They got pretty close, I think, in terms of like how they were positioned, how the armor was moving. And everything, because you don't want to go you never want to go right into a city. Like you want to like surround the city, cut off supply, cut off the ability to do air, for air support to come in, like in Berlin in the 1960s.
Yeah.
You know, so it became a
and they couldn't take control of the airports too.
Yeah, it became the linchpin of their whole strategy was to take Kyiv, and by not taking Kyiv, they have basically lost all momentum.
So I mean. The second part of this, and I'm asking you if you agree with this or not. The second part of this was that I feel like this is not a Operation Iraqi Freedom style shock and awe campaign, but very limited in its striking capabilities.
Yeah.
Even though
they don't have like a defense apparatus like we do, where we have like 100,000 cruise missiles just sitting around, right? You know, like
you don't think like but they're not using like even stuff that they would use in Syria. I feel like
they use it. They've used it, but they have less supply, so they don't have like an oversupply. Like we have this gigantic defense industry that just weapons on weapons and weapons and weapons, and they'll never be used. It'll go rusted before it ever sees the light of day. And then the Russians, they have materiel, but that they need constant resupply. And because they've been involved in other conflicts and they've been doing training exercises and things, they don't have as much ammunition or as advanced equipment as even though they do have advanced equipment, their advanced equipment is less in number.
So you don't think that they are limiting their striking capabilities? Because like currently they still have yet to use they're still using precision weapons rather than indiscriminate bombing at
well,
this
they want
moment.
to keep the infrastructure. It's not that they care about. It's not that they care about.
Exactly.
It's not that they care about Ukrainian civilian casualties or anything. They don't give a fuck about that. What they care about is, although like there's the soldiers on the ground and some of their senior officers may be like, I don't know about this, but they certainly want to maintain the infrastructure. They want to keep bridges up.
Yeah, because they want to take it over.
Yeah,
they want to run
thought they
it.
were going. I think that their strategy was to take Kyiv very quickly. Like get a surrender and then install a new government immediately.
Yeah.
That was like it was going to be this like we're in and out and
Which,
we're
by
done.
the way, is insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely
to do it to Ukraine. To try to do it to Ukraine is fucking insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was basically as I put it in a tweet. I was like, they went all in. You know, it's sort of like in poker, and they had a pair ace, or they had a pair ace, but then
I have no idea what that reference is, but I'm sure other people got it.
You got to play poker. Got to play Texas Hold'em.
But it was, you got to make sure.
Cutting in and out because I'm
you
moving.
Gotta make sure, you got to make sure you're close to it.
I see why you do the.
Yeah, exactly. I have to. It's better because it cancels out everything else that's going on around. So it's a failure on it's a failure on the strategy part, because what is your perspective? Like, what are you supposed to do? You fucking take over Ukraine and then you reinstitute a puppet state? What do you? I mean, who are you going to bring back? And how would you ever? How do you feel at this point with all the NATO weapons that have already been pumped into Ukraine, even leading up to this invasion? And before that, there was still plenty of NATO weapons there, and CIA trained, battalions and paramilitaries and all that. How did you ever think that you'd be able to control this country without seriously like a violent insurrection? It just doesn't make sense.
It wasn't that long ago that Ukraine was under, like during the Soviet Union era, they were essentially under Russia. They were they were they were essentially a client state for many years. So I think that that certainly, like, if you have that sort of old if you sort of have that old hat, I'm very short. If you have that old hat sort of post-Soviet or like recently Soviet Union attitude, I can see why you would want to think that that you could just like go back to that, right, and have a client state again, like very quickly. It's sort of like it's like an unrealistic.
But he realized there's no shot he doesn't realize. That's why the Minsk agreement was like about controlling Kyiv's or controlling Ukraine's like foreign policy. And not like fully controlling Ukraine, but at least like having a say in what they end up doing.
I don't know what's in his head.
Keeping it dependent.
I don't know what's in his head. That's what scares me the most about Putin is right now is the fact that this has turned into a clusterfuck for him. This has turned into not only is Ukraine destabilized, now potentially Russia could be destabilized from these effects. Eastern Europe, Eastern and potentially Central Europe could be destabilized from this, especially with an ever-growing refugee situation happening in the border countries, and now you have NATO who's posturing, and I don't know what's going on in terms of like one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to speculate at all, especially on the internet, is because nobody knows what the hell is going on.
And
nobody can guess.
And you got this going on, breaking news, but Belarus says constitutional referendum is passed, revoking its non-nuclear status and paving the way for Russian nuclear weapons in the country.
All right, there you go. I mean, they're making their moves. They're making their strategic moves. So, I just saw
you gotta have a nuke.
I watched the UN security.
You gotta have a nuke. I mean, it's just everybody has one. You gotta have one.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like
proliferation,
proliferation. Yeah,
it's a hard word to do that with. I'm obviously an advocate for disarmament, obviously, but before we do that, I think like if you're a small nation,
let's go.
I'm just saying it's a rule that I have. It's like if you want to build a nation state, you have to have a nuke. It's just how it is. And so congratulations to Belarus.
I mean, there have been situations where, hypothetical situations where you even have you have an organization that has a nuke and just declares itself to be nuclear power. So, like, hey,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And then boom, that's a state now. Yeah. That's a real state. That's a viable state.
Yeah, the nuclear weapons. They are the highest level of strategic leverage on the geopolitical stage.
Yeah. The amendments will also cement Lukashenko's 27-year-old grip on power, allowing the president to stay in power until 2035 and giving him lifetime immunity from prosecution once he leaves office. This seems very legit.
Yeah.
This seems like a normal way to do it.
These are normal. Yes, this is Russia bringing democracy to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. Okay, so breaking news, Socialist says he will buy a nuke. I mean, dude, if I could, I'd probably give it to Iran. Or Yemen, maybe. I'd give it to Yemen. I shouldn't be saying these things.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm now definitely
you're definitely.
I mean,
you're on a watch list now.
this is a parody to my.
How secure is this?
Very secure.
Okay.
It's very secure, right?
Yes.
It's very secure, right?
It's very secure.
You're a security expert, and you think it's very secure.
Yeah, this place is built like a bunker. I mean, I've seen bunkers that are actually stronger than this and heftier than this.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you should review that paper which Chelsea just trashed. The one about the overrated Russian military. Probably has an interesting perspective. What was it? What was the paper I trashed? No, it was like fucking some Woodrow Wilson Institute analyst being like.
Sounds legit.
Just being. It was
Brookings Institute.
No, it was just boring because they were talking about. He was like talking about like the intricacies of how the new leadership of the military actually undermined all of the prior leadership of the military's like advances in like pushing back against lobbyists and making sure that they were supplied well, all that stuff. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think I reviewed that. So I have literally been like, most of my sources of information haven't been news sources. They've been on the ground information, translated Telegram posts. I've been getting information from people who are paying attention to this, like on the ground, on the ground journalists and people who have been in and out of the region in the last few years. So and have connections and know people. I also know a group of people who fled Kyiv this week. They fled and they're crossing the border. Or they have crossed the border, I believe, at this point.
All right, let me ask something. What do you think about my assessment that this is an opportunity by the State Department to like? I agree that, of course, with you and every sane human being, that like Vladimir Putin is entirely in the wrong here. Yeah. Completely psychotic, unjustifiable, violent. But having said that, do you feel like
the truth is you're a Putin stan.
Yeah, of course.
That's why you have the little spinny graphic.
Exactly, to throw people off the scent. Whenever I say Putin is like a violent, kleptocratic, authoritarian, piece of shit, I'm just throwing people off the scent for all of my defenses that is to come.
Yeah.
But having said all that. Do you feel like there's a Western interest in turning this into Afghanistan 2 for Russia, like in the same way that Afghanistan 1 was originally the USSR's downfall because America wanted Afghanistan to be the USSR's own Vietnam.
That's a very good question. I think that there are conflicting interests within not just the United States but within Europe on that. I think that there are certain people who do want that to happen. Certainly the defense industry. Certainly anybody who benefits from sort of civil conflicts and things like that in terms of like bringing in weapons, bringing in support, and sort of not thinking of sort of like humanitarian issues and the effects of that. I think that Germany has a very different perspective on that than the rest of Europe, for instance. I think that because like the UK is so far out and they're so sort of like connected to the United States that the reason why the United States and
Canada and the UK are such fucking, they have been such awful voices in this entire matter. I just want to fucking drop. I want to put Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, and everyone in the fucking State Department into like anyone that has ever said like, no, we can't do like a peaceful a ceasefire negotiation or anything like that, or we can't come to the table. Unlike what Macron and Germany was pushing for, every single person that has said that needs to be dropped into fucking not even like Kyiv, like the Donbass. Like they need to be dropped into wherever the fucking heart of the conflict is.
Yeah, Kharkiv.
And then they should fight.
Yes.
Okay, because it's like it's preposterous.
Here's a javelin. Go do stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead. You fire these off, dude. It's so ridiculous that they are. It's so ridiculous that they're speaking from super far away.
Yeah.
They don't even have the concerns that like Baltic states have because they're so fucking far.
Yeah.
They don't have the concern of Eastern Europe. They do not have the same like proximity, so they can so easily and so comfortably goad Ukraine into thinking that like this conflict will not be incredibly violent and incredibly bloody for Ukraine and for Russia as well over an extended period of time with no NATO membership in sight for Ukraine ever. That's why I say it's like they're trying to turn it into Afghanistan for.
Yeah, I think that there are some interests that there are definitely some parties who want that, but there are other parties who are against that. Like in terms of like how this is, there's a dynamic, there's a give and a take. Like certain interests don't want a major humanitarian crisis on their border, and that's just reality. And
but none of it matters if it's not. None of it matters if it's not America. And America,
I understand that.
That's why I always say like America has single-handedly almost. They could end this tomorrow. They could end this yesterday. They could go in and be like, here are the concessions that we're willing to make. Here are
I'm wondering if that's
terms.
why they're moving nukes. I wonder if that's why they're threatening to be the nuclear power again. I wonder if it's because the United States they sort of view that the United States as sort of having the power to be able to be a check on this in terms of like the diplomacy and things. Because the United States has goaded up and really been trying to like push this stuff out and try to make this a thing. So, it's sort of it could be a way of sort of meeting that and meeting those 2 points. And that's not good for anyone. Like, the idea of like, oh yeah, let's just, let's just do a little glassing of a little region. And that won't turn into like a major international,
well, the United States is not going to, the United States is not going to touch Russia. And the only thing that they'll do is, I mean,
directly.
I mean, the United States is doing to the entirety of Ukraine what Russia was doing to the People's Republics in Donbass.
Yes,
they are using the entirety of Ukraine as a proxy war against Russia. Yeah. In the same way that the People's Republics were being used as a proxy war against Ukraine.
Yeah. Except that, I mean, this isn't so much a proxy war anymore because you have Russian troops who are directly involved, who are heavily and
no, I mean, one side state always fights. I'm just saying that it's a proxy war for America. Yeah, and they're using they're using Ukraine in that proxy.
Yeah, they're definitely. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
But
again, I don't want to speculate too much because we're like these events have been all just like the thing is that once you open this Pandora's box, you don't know where the fuck it's gonna go, and that's one of the reasons why anybody who says that they know what's gonna happen, you have to take with a grain of salt. Even professionals who have 30 years of destabilizing regions in the global South don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. So
yeah. And now tanks are moving into Kyiv once again.
It's not their first attempt.
Yeah. I mean, they've blown up a lot of the bridges and completely, I think, separated like any of the troops that have been inside that have gotten through any of those bridges. Whereas, I mean, there's not a lot of, I don't know what the entry points into Kyiv look like at this point, but they've done a pretty good job of defending Kyiv thus far.
Indeed.
So I don't know where this goes though. How do you think this conflict resolves?
This conflict I mean, does it resolve? The question is does it not escalate? And I have no idea. I do not know. I don't wish to speculate. Is the possibility of increasing escalation, spiraling out of control, a possibility? The answer is yes, and I don't know how else to say that without sounding scaremongering or fearmongering or extreme. It's just
What kind of
we're in a bad
escalations?
place.
What kind of escalations are we talking?
Oh, like the ones that we've already seen, where it's like, oh yeah, let's just like give Belarus nukes. It's an escalation.
Yeah, no, 100%. So you don't see like the potential ceasefire as like a realistic possibility at all? Whatsoever?
It depends. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know I don't know if it's going to be like a bunch of generals like who are standing at a table, and basically just saying like, oh, you know what, like here's our form of diplomacy. Like, screw you, just bringing or whether it's actual diplomacy or not. It's very difficult to sort of. It's very difficult to assess these things whenever you are in like we're in a different universe right now. We sort of went from the most likely and most realistic scenario of Russia taking the Donbass and like really focusing on the Donbass and maybe the region between Crimea and the rest of Russia, and sort of building getting a land bridge to Donbass, to trying to take the entirety of Ukraine, and that's just so outlandish and such an irrational and extreme set of circumstances that now everything is irrational and everything is extreme and everything is unpredictable. So it's like we're in uncharted territory. This is the first time that we've had a major force on force engagement of this variety since I think the 70s or 80s, right? So we haven't seen any of this stuff.
No, this is like Cold War. This is Cold War shit.
It's Cold War shit, yeah. Or Iran-Iraq war, like where it's trenches and flying, we're talking about troop lines. I have maps where I have an actual line of troops, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, we didn't have lines of troop, movements. Like we had, we took places and we sat there and we just held it, right? And I think that's that we haven't seen anything other than counterinsurgency and insurgency, or just an invasion where it's just where there's sort of no actual meaningful resistance because everything's been sort of obliterated from the air, for weeks on end beforehand. That we haven't seen anything where there's actual force on force resistance, where there's actual troops on the ground, there's actual anti-tank capabilities, there's actual
there hasn't been that much of that going on. Why do you think that's the case? Like, they just want to keep their casualties to a minimum, even though like they fucking have been getting kind of owned.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're starting to be more conservative after their first round of awful casualties. I think that strategic. I mean, they've basically been in a stalemate at this point, and in a controlled stalemate.
You guys massively misunderstand Russian and Ukrainian people's mentality and culture. There's no way this will turn into a long war because they're too close to each other.
Yeah, they are very close.
Not just geographically, but also many people have families in the other country. Captured Russians say they never wanted to fight, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the case of two warring nations. Yeah. It's like that's
they
always
they are
the case.
like I was saying, like they were the same country at one point, and like maybe not on paper.
I mean,
but
they have relatives living. There's relatives living in fucking Ukraine and Russia.
I mean, Russia fucked up Ukraine with Chernobyl, just like within like just a year before I was born. So
yeah. But I do think that at this stage, no matter what happens, like it doesn't seem like the Ukrainians are going to give up.
Maybe it's just like whenever white people they get into a fight and they're just sort of like scuffling. They're like, all right, and then they hug each other at the end. I don't know. I'm
they did fight.
Come on.
Like the British and the French.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know where this goes. Like I am fearful that. I was talking about this before, and you can maybe tell me I'm wrong if you think that, but I'm fearful that they haven't escalated to indiscriminate bombing yet. But I feel like once they realize that they're losing the war of attrition and that their source, supply chains
that's
cut
a worst
off.
Case scenario.
You have the conscripts that you sent out, and the Ukrainians are going to absolutely the Ukrainians are going to feel confident and deny any sort of concessions in this situation because they think they're winning the war completely, or also because Zelensky is fearful of coming across as like weak towards Russia because that, in my opinion, could lead to some kind of right-wing coup within the country immediately. Like this is the best time to just take over if you're like a Azov battalion guy. Like there's no better time to be like, fuck this guy, he's a Russian puppet, boom, let's get in there. And then also on top of that, it seems like the United States is not interested in it. The conversation, they want the continuation of the war. So I don't know. I feel like in the aftermath of the failed ceasefire agreements, the shelling is going to get much, much worse.
Yeah. I think it's a real possibility that they've already deployed thermobarics. Whether or not they've been used or not is not confirmed on the ground. A lot of my information is about 12 hours old from on the ground as well. Like I'm trying to pull it up right now, actually. Trying to pull up.
Okay, what do you think about the thermobarics? Like, is this
thermobarics are to kill people. They are like there's no it is not about infrastructure. It's not about it is about sucking the air out of your lungs and causing your lungs to be unable to breathe because they've been singed.
So it's not like propaganda. It's like straight up. This is like a brutal weapon specifically designed to kill.
Yeah, thermobarics are definitely worse than white. I mean, they're worse than white phosphorus in terms of like their effects on the human body.
Really? Holy shit! What is it like? It's too new for it to be considered a war crime or something?
I guess so. Yeah, because they haven't been used a whole lot.
I mean, what's a war crime really? It's just their suggestions. But
yeah. Basically, it sucks the air out of your lungs and replaces the air with fire.
I thought that's basically what. I thought that's what basically all like explosions do, though.
But it specializes in it.
That's I mean, I thought that was just like here you can see it. No, dude, this wasn't a thermobaric weapon. Chatter. This was just either this was a munitions depot.
Thermobarics are usually most effective in environments which are enclosed environments. So inside of buildings, inside of caves, inside of bunkers. They're often used as enhancers to bunker busters.
Oh, okay. This is Oh, so they send a bunker buster and then they send this in with it or something? Like how? No.
It's like if you're in a building, like if you're in a fortified building, for instance, and you put a thermobaric round into it, like it's going to kill everybody inside. So that way you can just walk inside and you got everything. Like you got the building, you've taken the fortified position. It specializes in that.
The bomb with no oxidizer in its payload, or the payload specifically meant to U.S. oxygen from the air around its explosion?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that all weapons technically, all explosives technically suck up the oxygen. But
yeah, they do. But this specializes in it. It's specialized. It's very, very, very good at it.
Okay.
It's much better at it. It's much more effective at it. I have no idea what this is, by the way. I have not seen this video.
No, this is not a thermobaric blast. No, we talked about this before. The Cherkazi, the Cherkazi blast was either a munitions depot or an oil like an oil facility. But I'm pretty sure it's an ammo depot. The location was geolocalized by my autistic Discord. That's what a lot of people were doing. I think that's what they were saying. It was a munitions depot.
Yeah.
But yeah, is Russia giving nukes to Belarus, or is Belarus just hosting them? Like,
I'm more impressed at your ability to read chat, given the fact that you only see it in this like 8x8 box.
Yeah, no, I'm reading nonstop. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I keep mine at very low resolution, or at very high resolution, so I can see like the whole gambit of things on chat. Although I haven't streamed in a minute.
No, I have a brain disease. I have a bad brain where I have to read every fucking bad comment and every comment in general. What do you think is going to happen to the Russian economy with the SWIFT sanctions and sanctions in general?
What Russian economy?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess true, but they have considered before that SWIFT is an act of war, or the central bank is an act of war.
Yeah, it's an economic
material support to Ukraine in the form of restricting Russian.
Everything has been quote unquote an act of war. Like every part of this whole escalation process on both sides has sort of been a act of war worthy. But nobody wants to actually. The problem with war, the problem with actual acts of war is that it starts this whole complicated legal process, and there's like a specific legal terminology. Like we've seen this with like the AUMF, right? Where the authorization for use of military force. Like you don't want to like there's a certain point where you don't want to trigger war being war. So like everybody just is going to be able to throw at these things that are technically legally acts of war, but nobody ever wants to cross that line. So it's just, from a legal perspective. So it's just going to be, it's very difficult to find out what is the thing that starts the whole thing. But yeah, the Russian economy is the Russian economy is like already sort of tanked. They do have natural resources. They do have natural gas. They do have oil. They do have, and they have a consumer-based middle class, economy, like in Moscow and other major cities, right? So, like we're not talking about we're not talking about a place where consumers aren't available and they can't sell it. They can't make things and sell things and have turn out their raw materials anywhere. So they are sort of like they aren't as like able to be affected by sanctions, and they've sort of shielded themselves from sanctions by being structuring their supply chains and their sort of economy in such a way to prevent that sort of thing from happening.
Yeah, I mean it's going to hurt both sides no matter what if they were to actually implement full blown.
Yeah, but I think that the
Europeans don't want to sacrifice.
Europeans don't want to sacrifice, but what the problem is that you have other countries that are able to do what Russia does, in terms of the economy and moving things over and sliding things over very quickly. China is obviously has a very big opportunity to sort of shift its resources and be able to fall into the same place and sort of providing a lot of resources apart from obviously natural gas and oil. Natural gas and oil, I think, were oversold in terms of like their political usefulness, their geopolitical usefulness, because obviously, this hasn't led to like Germany sort of saying, oh, like the Nord Stream is why we should suck
Russia to
the two toes of Russia, right?
Allow Russia to dominate Ukraine. I mean, but that was I think Nord Stream was the reason why they were sending only helmets and refusing for Estonia to send German-made weapons.
But I don't think the
Russia.
Russians expected a full-blown invasion either.
What do you mean Russians? I mean the Germans.
The Germans. Sorry.
No, I agree. I think
the Russian soldiers were all like the ones who were captured by the Ukrainians.
Yeah, they said they were doing training. They
had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking when you do that. That's like insane. That makes no sense. And I legitimately, that is something that I don't understand because I've never been like one of those, people that just like is obsessed with Russia.
Yeah.
And like knows everything and has like read books about, how the Russian military operates. But it does strike me as like, cannon fodder and testing weaknesses by just throwing numbers at the problem before you bring in like better trained troops. I mean, there's obviously still like Spetsnaz and saboteurs and stuff that they've sent into the country.
Yeah, but a lot of them aren't coming out.
Yeah, that's true as well. That is true.
Because a lot of the people who got from what I understand, the information that I have from on the ground indicates that a lot of special operations forces, a lot of their best were put in the most risky positions, and those risks, 5 out of 8 of those risks failed.
That's crazy that the Ukrainian military.
It would be like as if the U.S. Navy, as if we woke up one morning and the U.S. Navy SEALs were wiped out.
I think I straight up feel like, there's a little bit of extra help there. Like, no shot is this just entirely the Ukrainian special forces that got trained by the Canadians and are using American weapons, and that's it.
It's possible. I don't want to, I don't want to speculate on what, but it's definitely Oh, it's also that they overplay. They very seriously overplayed. You know, in terms of like, you know, it's sort of like if you play D&D, like, you know, like you do that one action where it's like, you know, like there's that very narrow 3%, you know, possibility, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna go anyway, and I'm gonna do that.
But that wasn't a 3% roll. I think Spetsnaz overtaking, or like Special Forces overtaking, like
an airfield.
an air base is not like that much of a crazy
yeah,
move,
it's not
is it?
3%, but. Yeah,
Like,
but
especially
it's
the
definitely
Russian
risky.
special
It's definitely
forces.
riskier. It's
Are
definitely
they just dog shit? Like, what's up? I thought that they were good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I think it's a good question. Like, how were they? I mean, were these strategically sensible decisions to make? And obviously they weren't. But, you know, were they at the time, given the information that they had? I mean, obviously almost all of these decisions had to be done by Putin himself. He had to be the one who calling the shots and approving all of these actions and approving all of these orders. And it had to be kept very close to the chest. And it's a question as to whether how much were active operators aware of what the plans were? How much, you know, did they actually know the night before? And I don't know.
They haven't even fully sent in like the Chechen troops either, though. And I feel like that.
Yeah, I've
that's
seen I've seen some misinfo and disinfo that they're like not coming.
Some of them came in, or they're not coming,
I
or
haven't
they
been able to
came in and they
confirm
died. I know that like the Kadyrov's like right hand man, his general, I forget what his name is. He's not dead, from what I understand. Even though the original
there's
reports
like a
were that he
video.
had
There's
died.
like a video that was circulating that I couldn't confirm. Then nobody could confirm.
No, but he was also on the phone with Kadyrov afterwards, when he was like making fun of people saying that he was killed. But like, these guys are brutal people, you know. They're a brutal force overall. Like, if they're sending in Chechens, like they don't give a fuck at that point. That's like the human version, in my opinion. Like, Kadyrov's forces are the human version of doing indiscriminate striking on civilian territory, rather than like precision strikes on military, you know, munitions depots. And stuff.
It also gives you a little bit of leeway to be like, oh, it wasn't us, it was those guys, right?
Yeah, but you know what? My friend killed 16 Chechen rebels. He was an interior decorator. Yeah, I don't believe that.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah. There are so many major reports that the Chechen general is dead. No, but we saw him on the phone. Like, he was talking on the phone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I have not been able to confirm or deny that based upon information that I have myself. So that's the other thing I've noticed. Okay, that's one of the things that I kind of want to talk about, like while we have a second, is that major news outlets have just been putting out like just baseless information.
They are literally, first of all, they went
like, as much as they talk about disinformation and misinformation, like they are doing that right now.
Okay, sorry. And this is the annoying part. What you saw was Kadyrov on the phone. You only heard his voice. No, we heard the other person's voice as well. No. But like, these guys are so fucking stupid that they were literally using like WhatsApp to communicate with one another, and the British intelligence was able to intercept their fucking plans, and that's part of the reason why they knew exactly what the fuck Putin was going to do. Do you really think that they're over there doing espionage to be like, Kadyrov is like, hey, call me with a fake phone number, and then we'll act like I'm talking to a fake person, but then we'll make it seem like you're my general. Like, no, they're not like tactful this way. We're not talking about fucking KGB assets. Like, we're talking about, you know, Kadyrov.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I don't know.
Even now, you like, while I'm sitting here, you're like, this chatter needs to be sniped.
I mean, it's true, because he's just like, no, because it's frustrating, because like they want to go along with like whatever the original thing they read first, especially if it corresponds to their worldview a little bit.
I've been wanting to say this for over a year now.
What's up?
Unionized chat. Let's
unionized chat. Oh no. Here we go. Okay, well, how about chat unionized at the top of the hour, because a 60-second ad break is coming at 4:30 instead of at 4, because I forgot to run it.
My bad.
No, it's all good. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5 or free with a Twitch Prime. Or, but if you're lucky, you can get gifted a sub. In your personal opinion, who will win this war? Hold on, I'm going to answer that in a second, but here's the 1 minute ad break now. There it is.
Sorry to ruin your chat. I made it worse.
No, it's all good. How long until the oligarchs decide enough and off Putin themselves?
Hey, one of them ended up dead.
Oh, the Gazprom guy, yeah.
That's a
Sorry,
that's a
he committed
question mark.
suicide.
I don't know. I don't want to I'm not going to speculate there, but I have questions. That's I have questions territory.
So do you? Yeah, of course. Yeah, he committed suicide with 2 shots to the back of his head. It's crazy how he was able to angle it that way. Oh, even that Gazprom suicide might be fake. I've heard that it's unconfirmed. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information. Like, there's obviously propaganda on. There's propaganda on the Ukrainian side, obviously, to like boost morale and to goad people to continue fighting. And there's also, of course, propaganda on the Russian side to demoralize the enemy. And strike fear in their hearts, that sort of thing. And then there's also just the regular misinformation that's going around. And I feel like CNN straight up just takes whatever they see on fucking TikTok and then they literally post it. And they're like, look at this. Yeah, but at least I'm a little bit more skeptical about whatever the fuck I'm looking at on TikTok than they are.
Yeah.
Because when something comes out, I expect CNN, who has like on the ground like reportors.
No, they're like they have like you have like NBC's Richard Engel, and
I mean he
you
sucks.
have like 8 people in there. They barely leave their Kyiv hotel. They like never leave, and when they go out, they're like in fucking like people out of the street are walking around like normal, like like obviously a war zone, but they're a little sketched out, but they're like taking out their trash and walking their dog and stuff, and you have dude in full battle rattle like. With the press, it was like that in Iraq. I remember we used to just laugh at the press because they would show up looking like you LARPing, right?
Oh yeah, with the press vest, yeah.
But it would be like, well, there's nothing going on. This is green zone. Like there's a like you get some coffee.
What is this? Magomed Tushayev is alive, according to r/combat footage, even though the post has been deleted. Was it over-reported?
Over-reported? What does that mean?
I don't know.
That's not over-reported means it's not like it's not
too
underground
many
enough.
Too many people have posted the same thing probably.
Oh, okay.
The Turkish book anti-air systems have been destroyed by the Russian book AA systems have been destroyed by a Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 drones that are being used by Ukraine, by the way. So there is that.
Yeah.
The Turks are very excited that 1, the ruble is finally worse than the lira, and 2, that the Ukrainians are using Turkish weapons for once.
Yeah,
so this is their pride and joy. This fucking NATO simps.
They are. Yep.
But yeah, the Bayraktar is what they used here. The Ukrainian military has claimed successful attacks by its Turkish-made force of drones against Russian forces. On Sunday, the armed forces of Ukraine released footage showing the destruction of armor by drone and said it was carried out against a Russian BUK surface-to-air missile system. And yeah, they've been getting the Bayraktar drones from Turkey since last year.
I am a little bit concerned about the amount of weapons that are going into this region and how.
Thank you. No, it's fucking psychotic. Like we've given
Okay, but also like they're sort of like they're not going to like regular trained soldiers. Or like a lot of the stuff is actually just being handed out to like
how the fuck are you gonna deal with it? It's over. Like.
We're gonna see javelins all over the place.
Once this fucking ends, there is 0% chance. There is absolutely, and I mean it, there is 0% chance that once this fucking conflict ends one way or the other, that Ukraine will be a safe place ever again. Ukraine is going to be like immediately in the aftermath of like
you're gonna be able to go to Texas,
the dissolution of Yugoslavia, and like where everyone just has guns like everywhere. You have like munitions depots full of like fucking arms that NATO ironically also sent there as well. It's gonna be fucking Kosovo.
You're gonna be able to go to a Texas gun show. There's gonna be a guy who has a javelin in his basement.
Exactly. And then the other side of it is also that like fucking they are, the Russians are taking the anti-tank missiles and shit because it's like you're giving it to a fucking village. Like if they go in there, they're gonna take the guns. Like they're their guns now. Good luck.
And when if hostilities end in a relatively short period of time, there's just gonna be a flood of weapons that are gonna be in the hands of like randos. So. And like there's obviously people who have an interest in collecting those and sending them out and shipping them out to other regions Wow.
Exactly.
And you have the Baltic, so like, or you have the Black Sea. Sorry, not the Baltic. The Black Sea. There's my geography failure for the day. But you have the Black Sea, so you could just, as long as you pay off the right Turkish like.
Turkish people would never do that. Turkish customs, very safe, very good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's so psychotic.
I don't know. Like somebody in chat was like, would Russia use chemical weapons? The answer is I don't know. But I would consider thermobarics to be a chemical weapon. It's a kind of like just like white phosphorus, but that's not a legal distinction. Anyway, sorry. I saw that chatter. I just had to answer them.
No,
I took you off your
No, that's fine. That's great. It's I don't know. I feel like and people used to get mad at me when I said this, but like I feel like Ukraine was stuck between Western powers that wanted to exploit it, both from an economic point of view and also militarily use it as like a fucking weapon against Russia ultimately. And there were very real reasons that Ukrainians would be on board with that. Obviously, Russia proved why Ukraine would be on board with that as well. But now I feel like it's just like I don't know how this is going to get to a point where Ukraine will ever be whole again. Like
it's a mess.
Where there will be like actual. This is not like Crimea,
No, this is not. This is not Crimea. This is not the Donbass. This is
like
a
something
totally different ball game.
It's like something entirely different now.
Yeah, because like I have this map here. Like you can see that's the entire this entire northern like bit from Kyiv all the way out to Kharkiv. It's conflict zone. Just never been. It hasn't been a conflict zone really since the Second World War in that region.
It's crazy. And by the way, that's part of the reason why they are treating this so differently than the numerous conflict zones that we here in the United States have created all around the world.
Looks like Germany's about to get his gas cut because
Scholz
takes tough stand against Putin.
Yeah, I wanted to watch this real quick.
Natural gas is about to shoot up.
2022 German budget will have 100 billion euros.
The General Assembly is not going to happen today, right? But from what I understand, of course, the Security Council got vetoed by Russia, so now they're planning on holding a General Assembly, as though that. I mean, I don't know what is the purpose of being able to condemn Russia's actions?
The purpose of being able to condemn Russia's actions is. I mean, I don't know. It feels like it's so diplomatic. I've never really been very diplomatic in terms of like how I operate, like in my mindset, because I've always been kind of like, oh yeah, like it's a smile on your face and a knife behind your back. But from a diplomatic perspective, like I think it's mostly just to build camaraderie and build allyship with other nation states. And
okay, but like it's just nothing at the end of the day. It is meaningless.
It's jerk off. It's jerk off motion.
So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like the actual actions that they're taking are one, sanctions not being handled by the UN.
Fuck ton of weapons.
And yeah, exactly. Shipping in like every gun on the fucking planet into Ukraine. Like, and lastly, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I guess, sanctions. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, my brain is freezing.
Fucking weapons, yeah.
Yeah. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced that Ukraine belongs in the European Union and the bloc wants the country to join, a rebuke of Russian President Vladimir Putin's own claims over Eastern European country. I mean, that's a little bit too late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit late.
Seems like
it's a bit late.
Like
it might.
Seems like you had an opportunity to do that.
They're. I mean, like this is symbolic at this point.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice of them to decide now.
Yeah, and not 2004.
Yeah, it's just like it's great. I mean, good for them. They're trying. They're trying their best.
Yeah, almost all of this is very symbolic. A lot of this is symbolic gestures. I mean, it plays well to some of the domestic base too.
Not the NATO security assurances, but the EU security assurances could still be like helpful for Ukraine. Of course, that is if it would
make moving the weapons that you got out of Ukraine a lot easier because they wouldn't have to go through customs.
Yeah, that's true. Russian forces appear to shift to siege warfare in Ukraine. Wait, what? What do you mean? What's new about this? been happening? This has been ongoing. I think she.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, that's a dope shirt, by the way. I see Rocinante. I've been watching The Expanse like crazy. That's where it's from, right? That's the Rocinante.
Yeah, it's a Rossi.
Yeah, I love that show. It's awesome.
I'm glad you started watching it because it's definitely
Everyone's been recommending it to me.
I'm very passionate about the books and the show. Belta Lauda. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Bosmang. They tried storming Kyiv before. Now it will be mostly bombardment. Does that? Oh, when they say they're appearing to shift to siege warfare, they mean they're just gonna fucking blast off instead of. I don't know because it's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's great.
Oh, so that's another thing that I noticed is that remember after COVID, it was sort of like we're gonna open up our paywalls so that you can get COVID information. Like every time a major event happens, the reason why disinformation is able to spread so easily is because these paywalls, because they don't like the conservatives don't put stuff behind paywalls. So therefore, whenever it comes to like more reputable sources,
they're getting fucking paid by. I mean, I guess these guys could get endowments too, but a lot of the conservative outlets just have billionaire backing. So why the fuck would they?
Yeah, because they're designed to put out
yeah.
misinformation and disinformation. So
exactly.
they have a different incentive structure. But, like having paywalls essentially means that people can't get information.
Do you agree with Yanis Varoufakis that if the U.S. promised no NATO in Ukraine, Russia would leave? I don't know anymore. I don't know. That was my original assessment, but I don't know anymore because my original assessment also meant posturing, saber rattling, but not actually taking like real invasive action. So I before Russia decided to invade Ukraine, if you asked me last month, I would say absolutely 100%, and I did say that. But now I don't know, because their actions don't make sense.
Yeah,
their actions in that respect don't make sense because there is no diplomatic solution. There is no consistent diplomatic solution once you've invaded this fucking country. And so we'll see. If Russia doesn't go scorched earth tonight after talks Monday, then Russia would look weak. No, I don't know. I don't know what this means. What do you think this means?
Which one?
They're moving heavy artillery into Kyiv and trying to go in.
Well, that means they're going to shell. I mean, if you don't bring in heavy artillery without the intent of shelling. I mean, whether it's for fortified positions or for fortified positions is a question.
Why is that famous Liv Agar chatter Chelsea Manning? Yes.
Yes. I look the same. We all look the same. All trans femmes look the same.
What? No.
All white trans femmes look the same.
He was saying you're a chatter of Liv Agars.
Yeah, Liv posting.
Yeah.
Agar.
Liv posting chatter.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a Liv posting head myself. I'm a fan. She's got good posts.
Very good posts. Very, very, very.
Bit of a lib, but.
I mean, who's speaking?
Yeah, no, they're saying you're famous for being a Liv Agar chatter instead of what you're actually famous for.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what else would I be famous for?
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And this was a surprise, but I think this was,
Sorry. It's everybody's stream's getting crossed because literally everything, all the communications have been crossed between a ton of people. So.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I wasn't even supposed to be. I wasn't even supposed to be like I was supposed to be in town, but not doing. I was supposed to be doing something else at this moment, and it just happened to be. And I tried to get in contact with you, and I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't know what happened with my people, but
once I'm on stream, it's a wrap. You know,
yeah.
I don't look at anything.
I've heard from your mods. You're impossible to reach. I also DM'd you.
True.
I also DM'd you, so you don't.
No.
This dude does not read his DMs ever.
No, everyone makes fun of me for it, but yeah.
But anyway, sorry to surprise you. I'm in town for the next like day or two. So.
Yeah. Okay. I already get it. I'm maidenless. Chill. Jeez. Yeah. Exactly. You need to touch Grace.
I do need to touch Grace. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
I there's a certain boss that I've reached that it's fucking kicking my ass. So I feel the same pain.
I haven't reached any of the boss yet. I'm gonna get my ass whooped in a little bit when I.
Yeah. So
when
I'm ahead
I start
of you.
playing Elden Ring,
I'm ahead of you.
I haven't even fought Margit yet, or Margit, however you say it. So I am
Liv's gotten
terrified.
there. I'm just gonna say that.
Did she beat him?